We're traveling back in time to our kindergarten era to create some beautiful wall art using
Okay, that's a lot of yellow.
Let's see if I can make it work. I've got this big empty wall in my apartment that's been staring at me forever. And I finally really want to put some art on it. As it often is in such situations, I went to Pinterest and I found so many beautiful prints made with linocut technique. It made me think of this classic craft project that I used to do as a child, in which I was using cookie cutter to make very simple stamps out of potatoes. So today I'm going to attempt to make beautiful minimalistic art prints using a couple of potatoes and few super simple tools.
Here's what we will need. First of all, paper. And I think that this project is so simple that it will only look good if I really pay attention to details. And that's why I really wanted to use high quality, thick paper with some visible texture. I went yesterday to the art store and I got this paper that feels absolutely luxurious. And I also love that it's not stark white. It's a little bit beigey and it really adds to this organic feel that I really want to have in the final product. Secondly, we will of course need potatoes. And I have here a mix of sizes. I have some bigger ones for more substantial shapes and then some smaller ones for details. I will also use some acrylic paints today and I will apply them onto the potato stamps with this little sponge. And of course, I'm also going to need a knife. And I couldn't stop myself. Yesterday when I was in the art store, I also got this little carving tool that I don't think it's really necessary to have for this project, but it might come in handy when working on the details on the stamps. And that's pretty much it. I think we're ready to start working on our first design. I basically want to create this rectangular stamp with lines spaced out not too far away from each other and not super regular in shape. And then I can use this stamp to basically print it onto the paper in rows and create this super simple design. Let's see how it goes. And first, of course, we have to cut the potato. Oh my god, this is one juicy potato. Perfect, we have a flat surface, that's the most important part. So this is gonna be our rectangular shape. Okay, I'm cutting the final design and I would really like the space in between the lines to be similar thickness than the lines themselves. And I really don't want each line to look the same and, be at the same angle. So I'll try to make it a little bit irregular. I can also turn the leftovers into very small French fries. So the first one is kind of done. Now we have to test how they look like when stamped on paper. So let's mix some paint. I'm thinking about having this design in a deep reddish orangey color. We will mix some red, a little bit of yellow, Okay, that's a lot of yellow. And then, because I really want this to be like pretty dark and moody, we're going to add some black. Okay, mixy mix. Oh, maybe we added a little bit too much black. Okay, to be honest, this is just brown, but it's a nice brown. So let's give it a try. I'm not gonna put a lot of water just because the potatoes already have, you know, some juice on them already. So I think I'm actually just gonna try to go like kind of dryish sponge. Let's give it a try. Stressful? Okay, I'm gonna press it in really good. Make sure that it touches everywhere. Ooh, nice. Let's reapply the paint. And let's try to put another stamp right next to it. Okay, I like. Okay, I really like it. I think this is definitely going to work. Let's move on to the second design that's going to be a little bit more complicated. I saw some of this really cool looking linocut prints of flowers, and I thought that it would be amazing to do a print like that, kind of inspired by my garden. And the flower that really stands out for me in there is Rudbeckia, with its narrow, long petals and a cone-shaped center in contrasting color. It looks really interesting, and I think it could work great for this print. I will have to create two stamps, one for the petals and one for the center of the flower, because these two parts will be printed in different color. I'm also considering doing additional stamp for the stem of the flower, but I'm not 100% sure if it's going to look good on paper, so let's see about this later. I was planning to just use my pencil to actually like freehand the design on the potato, but as we have learned from the first stamp, that does not really work. The pencil doesn't work on a potato, surprisingly. Alright, the second stamp was definitely way more complicated. I kind of had to freehand this entire thing, and at the beginning I thought that the carving tools are going to be super useful with that, but they are not really. They dig way too easily into the potato, so I ended up cutting very gently with the knife. Let's see how this one turns out. I'm going to mix up some yellow paint first. Love this shade. It's kind of perfect sunflowery yellow. The moment of truth. Let's give it another go. Not perfect, but better. It's not terrible, but this is not the level of detail that I would like to have. Let's try to cut another set of stamps. I cut not one, but two more sets of stamps. Unfortunately, the results were still not where I needed them to be. But before giving up on design number 2, I decided to give it one last chance. Okay, this has to be it. After multiple tries and fails on the flower design, I made fourth and hopefully the last one. I mean, it's going to be the last one because if this one doesn't work, then I think I'm going to give up on this specific design. Maybe it's just too complicated for a potato. Okay, this is much better. My last attempt looks really promising. I can work with that. In the meantime, I went back to the Pinterest boards to look for inspiration for more shapes that could work for potatoes. And I found this really cool print that somebody actually made with potatoes, so I know it's going to work. And it was extremely simple shape. It was just half circle, it was repeated in lines, and there was a little bit of variation in color. And I'd really like to test it out. It's going to be a very small stamp. So basically what I'm going to do now, carve half circle into this potato, and then we will just work on our final prints. Now that I have my stamps ready, I need to cut the paper to size, and I'm going to be using my passepartout from the frames as a guideline. I used a piece of paper with my design printed on it to decide on the final placement. For my half circle design, I started working in the center. Then I was working in rows, changing the intensity of the color from one stamp to another. To some stamps I was adding more yellow and to others a little bit more white to create variation in color. If I can give you one advice, do not apply your paint to the stamp right above your paper because there will be some splatters. Luckily, this paper was good quality and I was able to just wipe the paint off. Let's give a try to my flower design. And to be completely honest, I didn't have my hopes up with this last design. The tests were quite inconsistent and I was fully prepared for this to be a fail. To my surprise, when I started printing, I actually really liked it. Somehow, with the final layout, I was able to just completely ignore the minor imperfections. It definitely needs a little bit more. I would add a stem and maybe like a really faint leaf. I'm going to make another stamp for a stem. Of course, I didn't have my camera on, but I put the stems on and they look really cute. I am actually loving this one. There's also something missing here, I have a feeling. I'll try to add a little leaf.
I went into this project with zero expectation, and that's why I'm so positively surprised. After one afternoon, I have 3 beautiful prints that look absolutely amazing in my space. And literally anyone can do this project. It's just a couple of simple shapes cut into the potato and stamped onto a piece of paper. I hope you're gonna give it a try and that you liked the prints and this video. This is just the first episode of my new DIY series, so if you liked it, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you can follow along. Thanks so much for watching today, and see you next time.